Hi, guys. It just keeps getting better and better and better. I just found out the truth always comes out. The dirty laundry, let me tell you, it all comes out in the wash. I knew there was group stalking, but there's actually a petition going around because people are afraid of Anthony. They weren't afraid when they needed me to crawl in their window because they locked themselves out twice. They weren't afraid when I drove their cars in the snow and shoveled to get them out and make sure they didn't break their hips. They weren't afraid to knock on my door and start crying and screaming that their son was an alcoholic and they needed my help. They weren't afraid when they needed milk and when they needed water and when they needed this and when they needed that. But now suddenly they're afraid. You know what they're afraid about? They're afraid of their own shadow. They're afraid of the bribes they took. They're afraid of themselves. That's who they're afraid of. And if I were them, I would be afraid now. You know why? Because they sold their souls. That's what they did. So maybe they're afraid of the devil that's in themselves. What was I gonna do? Really? I have no criminal record and they're afraid of me. What was I going to do? Decorate their house for Christmas? Maybe over-decorate the Christmas tree? Maybe drop off some silks and some track lighting? What are you afraid of? You're full of crap and it's over. And it's not that I'm upset. I'm just a passionate guy, okay? And maybe you're afraid of passion. Maybe you're afraid that every time you look at me, you may get a tickly feeling. Maybe that's what you're afraid of. Woo. Well, let me tell you, I'm not afraid of anything at this point. You know why? Because I've lived a life of insanity with insane people. And Dad, think that I don't realize that you're a part of this? You're so jealous of me because every one of your friends that wasn't attached to you always ended up liking me and asking for me. Okay? Because I bring the milkshakes to the yard. And my life is better than yours, and my life is better than yours. So you know what? I'm not going to give you something to be afraid of. You're already afraid of your own shadow. So maybe, you could work on maybe getting some therapy. And maybe I'm wearing too much phony AI eyeliner. Is that what you're afraid of? Or maybe you're afraid that maybe there's some repressed bisexuality in there somewhere. If you think about it, it's like we only have two choices. It's like, meat or potatoes. Eventually you may want to try the potatoes. Guess what? You're afraid of your own sexuality. You're afraid of your lies, and you're afraid of the mask that you're wearing. Don't project it on me or continue to project it on me, because if you don't do your shadow work, you are going to cross the rainbow bridge and be petrified. Okay? You want to be afraid of me? What? Maybe I'll play too much disco music, or I may laugh too much? You know what? I'm afraid of how damn boring you people are. That's what scares me. So boring, I want to peel my skin off listening to your conversations. So there you go. Take care. Woo! Scary.